Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Today is Tuesday. Got a beautiful Tuesday episode for you guys. It's just you and me today. You beautiful bastards. Hope you guys have been enjoying the guest episodes we've been having and all that good stuff. Hope you guys have been enjoying the Sunday episodes. It's kind of like a unofficial, official change kind of thing. We are doing episodes every Sunday now. And then I always have Michael as a guest on there. And so, you guys seem to be enjoying those episodes and enjoying those clips. So we're going to definitely keep doing that. I do like having kind of specialty shows. I mean, I think 2026 is definitely the year of like specialty shows now. And what I mean by that is like Tuesday, it's more of just me and you guys. Wednesday is obviously our book. And then Sunday is, me and Michael. And I like that. I do. You're always getting something new. You're always getting something, different every episode throughout the week. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. Obviously I'm still going to have some more guests and stuff like that come on to the show, and we're going to try to do that throughout the year. I am going to be doing a group episode sometime next month. So, next month you guys will be seeing kind of a different studio. We'll be shooting out of a different studio, and it'll be me and probably 4 or 5 of my closest friends and stuff. And we'll all be doing a thread, and as well as reacting to you guys' scenarios and all that kind of stuff. That's not going to change. But yeah, I got some cool stuff lined up for you guys. I do want to make a super quick announcement though, as far as streaming and stuff. Obviously I'm going to be starting to slow down on streaming only because, with this year, I'm trying to do a lot more guest episodes, and with guest episodes, I'm kind of going off of the guests' schedules a lot of the times, and a lot of times their schedule doesn't align up with when I normally film. So, sometimes I have to film on stream days, and then, they don't get here till late, to film in the studio and stuff like that. So again, it's one of those things where it's I have to kind of go by that, and it's I either can do streaming or I can do guest episodes, and it's just I'm going to try to squeeze in streaming as much as I can. Don't get me wrong. But there are going to be a lot less streams. So that's going to be that. But at the same time, I hope you guys are enjoying all the episodes that we've had so far in 2026. We've been doing our thing. It's been keeping me hella busy, but I absolutely love it. I won't lie to you guys. And so I hope that you guys are enjoying the episodes as well, and all that good stuff. I'm still hoping to try to get a collaboration with me, another podcaster or another YouTuber or whatever, something like that. I'm still looking into that, still doing some research on that and stuff like that. But for the most part, yeah, like I said, Tuesday episodes, just me and you. Thursdays is the book, and then Sunday is me and Michael. So yeah, man, hope you guys are enjoying the episodes. Without further ado, let's get into today's thread. With obviously the new year coming in about 2025 in the rear view, I'd like to do a thread for you guys. That is, what is the most awful thing that happened to you in 2025? All right. I know 2025 was a bit of a dumpster fire of a year. I won't lie to you. My goodness. But I won't lie to you. I had a really good 2025. And that was all thanks to you guys. The support that you guys showed in 2025 for the podcast and all that. I definitely hit a lot of milestones in 2025. You know what I mean? We changed up a lot and made a lot of new things. It's crazy that just to think that my intro that we have that you guys hear in the beginning of every episode, that was done in 2025. We did some pretty good books last year as well. But yeah, man, it was a good year. It was a really good year, and we're already having an amazing 2026, all thanks to you guys, and that's been awesome. We're already hitting some milestones, and we're only, fucking 9-10 days into the damn month, into the year. So the fact that we're only 9-10 days into the fucking year and we're already kind of hitting the ground running, that's awesome. So let's get into today's thread. What is the most awful thing that happened to you in 2020? My 40-year-old wife of 10 years contracted a nasty infection and passed away. Took only 3 days from symptoms to passing. Oh, bruh. Oh, that's tough. That is absolutely tough. I know a lot of people, that I've worked with, lost a lot of people in 2025, due to just random shit, you know what I mean? Whether it was just cancer, sickness, this and that. And so, yeah, man, dang, that's a tough one, bro. Okay. What is the most awful thing that happened to you in 2025? After 5 months of losing 60 pounds through daily exercise and clean eating to prepare for a gastric bypass so I could keep up with my toddler and then yet to be born second son as a full-time stay-at-home dad, the surgery abruptly became an exploratory biopsy when they went in with cameras and immediately noticed my liver was covered in innumerable lesions. Oh my God. Woke up in a post-op recovery being told they couldn't complete the surgery because they found cancer. Oh, bruh. My man, he's just getting cooked left and right. Oh my God. Over the next 3 days, a PET scan and a grueling colonoscopy prep, getting a gallon of Miralax down the 5 hours less than 24 hours after abdominal surgery is hell. They traced it back to a tumor sitting on my colon at the Sputnik flexure. Okay. I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer and told that it's treatable but incurable. Surgery to attempt removal of the tumor would be pointless unless it were actually obstructing my colon, because the makeup of said tumor meant it be like removing a glitter bomb that already went off. Exactly 10 days after my diagnosis, my son was born premature at 33.5 weeks and spent nearly a month in the ICU. So I proceeded to have to keep close support of my wife, new son, and my 2.5-year-old son at home, while unable to lift more than 10 pounds on my right side for a week after my chemo port was installed. Definitely a severe lower back pain that could assume was some lumbar strain. Bro. Wow. And we think we had a bad 2025. Man's had a 2025. Bro was in World War III with his own body. Oh my goodness. Dude, it's one of those things where I am so surprised how strong some people are, man, because I know for me personally, if I was going through all that bullshit, I'd be like, hey, Jesus, take me now. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm ready to go home, son. I'm good. I'm ready to clock out. And I get it. You have a wife and kids. That's probably what kept him going and all that kind of stuff. And kudos to him 1,000%. But I know for me, bro, I'd be like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Dude, I ain't going to lie to you, man. I sit there and I be counting my lucky stars every single day that I have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, nose, and 2 ears that work just fine. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Sometimes I'll be reading situations and scenarios and stuff like that, and this podcast be humbling the fuck out of me. I won't lie to you. All right, it be humbling the fuck out of me to the point where I'm like, I need to be grateful, and I hope you listeners, you feel the same way, where it's like you start to realize, holy shit, I ain't got it as bad as some people. I need to be fucking grateful that I can get up every morning and have coffee and eat food normally and be all right. Bro, it's one of those things where, you don't really realize how much you're taking for granted until you hear about somebody else's experience. It's like it's like being sick. You know, when you're sick and like your nose is all clogged and stuffed up, your throat is just scratchy and it hurts all the time. You know what I mean? You can't regulate your body heat. So like you put a blanket on and then you're too hot and you take the blanket off and you're too cold, you know, and then you get over that sickness and you're just like, oh my God, I took breathing in my nose for granted. I took being able to swallow and it not be painful for granted. You know what I mean? I can wear clothes and not, or I can be under a blanket and not feel too hot and or not too cold. I'm telling you, bro. Oh, yeah. Hey, count your lucky stars, all right? I want you to, you know, hear this man's story right now and be just grateful. You know, be grateful that you got 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, a nose, and 2 ears that work just fine. You know, work just fine. Oh, because we all take it for granted sometimes. I know I do. Oh, man. All right. Okay. What's the most awful thing that has happened to you in 2025? I fell down concrete stairs running to catch a train, broke my face in 2 places. Holy shit, I didn't know you could break your face. Both wrists and some teeth, 3 titanium plates, 3 operations and many hours of physiotherapy and dental work, and I'm good as new. All this happened after losing my job and struggling to find a new one for the whole year. Hold the fucking handrail and appreciate your work if you have some. Damn. That's wild. I did not know that you could break your face. I mean, I get it. You know, you're obviously your skull is a bone. It can break. But damn, son. The fact that you went through all that, crazy. Wow. Oh, man. And sometimes, you know, it's one of those things where you kind of got to you got to go through some traumatic ass shit to realize, you know what? I need to start, I need to stop taking some shit for granted. It's the little things, you know what I mean? It's the little things that you take for granted. Like as simple as using a goddamn handrail for that man. Because that boy, I guarantee you, every time he goes down some stairs now, he uses a handrail. He's just like, you know what? Safety first. Yes. Ah, damn. Crazy. Okay, what is the most awful thing that has happened to you in 2025? My baby brother died at 41 due to undiagnosed diabetes. Diabetes is mostly preventable if you get yearly doctor checks. Family is heartbroken. Dang. Oh, yeah. That's one of those things where it's just like, you know, like I was saying, I know a lot of people that have lost family members and stuff like that in 2025. And it's one of those things where you kind of never know it's going to happen until it does. You know, it just comes out of nowhere. It just hits you like a damn freight train, man. Because I know I had a friend at work, you know, and he lost his aunt, and that shit just kind of came out of nowhere. He was just like, holy shit, you know, and he was telling me, he was like, bro, I don't know how to feel about it. You know, he's like, I don't know how to feel about it because it's just like, it was like she was there one moment and then she was just gone the next. And you never really know, and you never really think like, oh yeah, that's going to happen, you know, to me, or oh yeah, you know. So yeah, bro. Tough. That one's tough. Okay. What is the most awful thing that has happened to you in 2025? Take your pick. My dog got cancer and had to be put to sleep. I got diagnosed with stage 3 bone cancer. Damn, son. Damn. Okay. A week after getting surgery to remove 4 ribs, part of my spine, and a cancer that was attached, I got fluid in my lungs and ended up back in the hospital. While in the hospital the second time, got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. But I am alive and feeling very grateful for doctors, nurses, surgeons, hospitals, and all of the friends who have kept me healthy and sane this year. Man. People be going through it. Golly. And it's so wild. And that's one thing about this podcast that has like really taught me that, you know, the world is so much bigger than, the fishbowl that you kind of put yourself in. Like think about it like this, the city that you live in and the neighboring cities that you visit or drive through, either to go to work or to see friends, or, to go to, I don't know, amusement parks, or you go, to have fun or go to restaurants, whatever. Like, you don't realize how much of a fishbowl you kind of really live in until you kind of experience other people's stories, or not experience them, but like you hear about other people's stories and their lives and stuff like that elsewhere in other parts of the world. And then it really kind of like gives you perspective of like, damn, there are so many people out there who are either on the other side of the world, other side of the country, whatever it may be, that's just going through some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like, in the same breath, in the same moment that you're, driving, I don't know, the Mickey D's or something like that. There's a motherfucker over there found out his dog got cancer and found out he got cancer. You know what I mean? He's in and out of the hospital dealing with this and that and going and it's like, and you're just so obligatory to it. You know what I mean? Because again, we live in our little fishbowl. Because I know for me, like even before starting this show, you kind of feel as if the world is as big as what's around you. And then when you start to kind of like, I don't want to say experience because that's the wrong word. But once you start to like hear about other people's experience and their lives and what they've gone through and what they're doing and stuff like that, then it kind of like breaks you out of this fishbowl a little bit, and it kind of gives you perspective. Because there's times when, I'm like just chilling and doing something, and I think to myself, I'm just like, man, there's a person like on the other side of the country, that's just going through some shit. You know what I mean? And I'm over here just chilling. Like, or there's some dude who is like getting broken up with his girl. There's some dude that is like, I don't know, finding out that he's only got a couple months to live or something. Or it's like all these crazy things are happening all at the same moment. And you don't really think about them because, like I said, we just live in this little fishbowl of our lives. And we don't really think about these kind of things until, obviously, you are told about them, or somebody tells you about their experiences and they kind of, or you find out about it or whatever it may be. And it's just like, it really puts perspective in your mind. Like, dang, there's just so much going on in the world, and there's so many people experiencing shit that, you would never understand or even realize or couldn't even fathom, and it's like, that's their reality. It's kind of crazy, if I'm being honest with you. Is what I've noticed is like, the world is just so much bigger than how you see it. Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me with this show, if I'm being honest with you. All right. There's a lot of sad shit in this thread. I won't lie to you. A lot of sad shit. All right, this will be our last one for this thread, though. All right, what is the most awful thing that happened to you in 2025? My brother died in a car wreck 6 months ago because someone else was speeding in a heavy rainstorm and lost control on the highway. He was only 37 and left behind 4 children, ages 6 to 18. Our parents got divorced when I was 4. He was 7. He went with mom and lived with my dad in a different state. So our entire lives, we barely saw each other and didn't talk on the phone nearly enough. I always thought someday there would be times someday I will be able to afford to take time off of work and go visit. Someday we'll move closer to him, and now I never can. I feel like I missed his entire life. Damn. I think about that all the time. I do. I think about that all the time. I'm the type of person where, I look at it like, I always tell people, regardless of like how shitty you may feel about, like a certain family member or your brother or your dad or your mom or whatever it may be, or your sibling, it's one of those things where even if they absolutely piss you off, even if, they've made a lot of mistakes or they've done things that, you may not find favorable or whatever, it's always good to have some kind of relationship with them regardless. Reason being is because, for one, you only get one set of parents. You only get one set of siblings. You know what I mean? And you only get such a finite time with them. The time isn't forever. There's not, I try not to look at it like, oh, there'll always be time, or, oh, I can go see him nah, man. Because what I've noticed, especially, you know what I mean, living on my own and, I don't live with my parents and stuff anymore and all that kind of stuff. I noticed, like, when you're a kid, you never want to hang out with your parents. You're like, oh, they're so annoying, and oh, I hate my mom for this, or I hate my dad for that, and this and that. When you become an adult, it's one of those things where I always tell people, like, try to spend as much time with your parents as you possibly can. And the reason being is because once they get old and you can't really do shit with them anymore, you're gonna regret it. Like, my mom, she always wants to take me out, like, traveling and to do stuff. I hate traveling. All right, I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate traveling. I hate going places, stuff like that. But I always go because I look at it like, I know that if I don't, when she gets old, you know what I mean, and can't do shit, I'm going to regret not going. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where it's just like, I know that there's going to come a time where she's going to get old and, she's not going to want, or she's not going to be able to do stuff. And I'm going to be sitting there thinking like, dang, man, I really missed out on all this time with my mom when she could do stuff. And, now I'm sitting here regretting it, instead of just kind of sucking up my little pride and just going and doing shit with her. You know what I mean? Same thing with my dad. Like, me and my dad, we never had a good relationship when I was a kid. Ever. Like, we were always just kind of constantly butting heads, and, I was always just like angry at him, and I was like, oh, I hate you, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And when I grew up and, became an adult in my early 20s and stuff, I started to kind of go through life and realize, holy shit, okay, that's why my dad would say what he said. Okay, that's why, my dad kind of did what he did, you know what I mean, when I was put into his shoes, whether I liked it or not, you know what I mean? You kind of get in those situations where you're like, damn, I see why my parents did that. I kind of see why my parents acted like that. I kind of see why they were, because once you start to be responsible for shit, especially physically responsible for stuff, you start paying your own rent, you start paying bills, you start, you have to money manage things, you know what I mean? You're dealing with debt and trying to pay that back, and you're, taking out loans, and you're trying to pay for your car note, and you're trying to do all these things. You really start to kind of have some sympathy towards your parents, because it's just like, damn, I don't have kids and I'm struggling. So imagine having all this and having kids. Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah, you gonna be mad too. You know what I mean? You gonna be pissed the fuck off too all the time, because you got all this bullshit to deal with, and then you still got your kid to deal with. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, it just helps you kind of have perspective and understand a little bit. And so when I became an adult, I was just like, you know what? I kind of sat there and I told my dad, I was like, you know what, man? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I acted like the fucking little asshole that I did, because now that I'm in your shoes a little bit, yeah, paying rent sucks. Paying bills sucks. You know what I mean? It's and I know all of you have gone through this exact situation I'm just about to say. You get your check on payday and then it's gone. You don't even have that money for 24 hours, okay? Your check comes in, hits your account. You don't even have that money for 24 hours. Not even 24 hours, and your check's gone. It's gone. And your bitch ass sitting on the couch watching TV, and you like, yep, I ain't going nowhere this week because I ain't got no money. I know you guys have gone through that. Why? Because I've gone through that. And it's always the beginning of the month. You know what I mean? You got rent, and you got bills, and you got, car note, and this and that. And you know what I mean? There's always a point in the month where you like, yep, everything's paid for, but, you know, I'm broke as a joke and I'm staying home, you know, and so that type of situation sucks. You know what I mean? It sucks. And so, you know, even when Michael was on the show, you know what I mean, we kind of talked about it. You know, he's a dad and he's just like, yeah, you know, my kids, they always, you know, want to go to McDonald's, and he's just like, a Happy Meal is fucking expensive as shit now. Happy Meal is like 12 fucking bucks. You know what I mean? And, you know, he was saying like, I spend $12 for them to take 2 bites of it and then run off and play. And it's like, all right, cool. Fuck me. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where I'm just like, yeah, think about, you know, how all the responsibility that you have plus having kids, you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's just like, you don't really appreciate some shit until you either experience it or it's gone. You know what I mean? And for this dude, it was one of those things where he didn't really appreciate having his brother in his life until his brother was gone. And that's kind of the full circle to kind of bring it back. You know what I mean? And that's why for me, I always look at it like I don't want to ever take people in my lives, especially family members, for granted. You know, as horrible as they may be, or as much as I didn't get along with them, or, you know, as mad as they made me, or whatever the case may be, I look at it like, you know what? I'm going to put that aside because I understand that when you're gone, I rather say, hey, you know, I had some type of relationship with you, rather than I regret, like, damn, when they were alive, I should have said something. I should have talked to him. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that was a kind of darker thread than I thought it was going to be, man. I thought, you know, this wasn't going to be as bad as it was. Gee, woo. All I can say, if you take anything from this thread, be grateful, man. Be grateful that you aren't experiencing this, or you aren't going through that. Now, if you are a person that is going through that, well, hey, you know, yeah, man. I ain't got nothing for you. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't got nothing for you. I just don't. I'm sorry. And, you know, I look at it like I'm not gonna really take these kind of things for granted ever, because I know there are people that are out there that are wishing they were me, you know? So you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you have an awful thing that happened to you in 2025, definitely leave it down in the comments. I'd love to read it. All right. Let's hop into announcements, and then we'll get right into our scenario. So patreon.com/MyAssholePodcast. Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday show, like these lovely people did for today. All right. $3 a month gets you that exclusive episode. All right. As well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday episode. Audio listeners, thank you guys so much for all of the support. You guys are super awesome, and I appreciate you guys coming out every week, downloading the episodes, listening, doing your dang thing. I appreciate that so very much. If you guys want to help out even more, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as subscribing on YouTube. All of that helps out so very much. We recently hit our goal of 2,000 subscribers, and I really appreciate that so much. That is a goal I was hoping to hit by this month, and I did, and I'm so happy about that. All right, so let's keep that train rolling, baby, and let's get on to it. Okay, we have our first scenario for today. Any point in trying to make this work? I need advice. I am sure you will find many red flags here, but give it a chance. But it's a long one, so buckle up. All right, we're buckling up, buddy. Okay, here we go. So I, 31 male, met her, 36 female, at a strip club.
Bruh.
Come on, man. All right. First red flag out the way. Okay. Yeah, she, will call her Kayla, was a stripper. I don't go to strip clubs often, but my friend had just been dumped and I wanted to go, so we went. And our meeting gets worse. That night, I talked to her for about an hour and gave her almost $1,500. Oh.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
That's crazy. To be honest, I kind of just like to spend some cash sometimes. Bro, that's not some cash. That's a lot of money. You know, if he was like if it was like $500, then I'd be like, all right, cool, whatever. But you spent $1,500. That's crazy. I indulged the fantasy. The flirting was fun. We talked politics and TV shows. She was interested in my Air Force stuff. Nah, nigga, she was interested in the money, but okay, that's neither here nor there. I left the club with an empty wallet and a phone number I was certain was fake, and I was content with that. But it wasn't fake, and we went on a date, and the next day, we went to a nice French place downtown where she offered to pay. In fact, she offered to give all the money back. I didn't let her. Over the next month, we went on a few more dates. We didn't even have sex until like the third or fourth date. That's pretty normal. And that was only after she spilled some wine on me, and one thing led to another. Nah, that was planned. All right, that was calculated. She spilled some wine on your penis and was just like, "Oh my God, let me touch it." You know? Oh, you know, like, come on, man. You know, hey, she knew what she was doing. Yeah. She knew. She knew what she was doing. All right. Let's see. Okay. Honestly, despite the circumstances of our meeting, it was basically the most normal dating experience I've had. That's it? So you're saying, okay, so let me get this straight. You're asking me, should you make it work with a girl that's a stripper? I mean, if you're okay with, like, look, okay, personally, I would never date a stripper. I just wouldn't. I'm the type of dude where I look at it like any girl that's involved in sex work, you know, they don't tend to be the best partners. All right. Why? Because they have to put themselves in precarious, you know, situations and all that kind of stuff. And I just don't want to have to deal with that. Also, I look at it like I want my woman's sexuality to be solely mine. If she's a stripper, then it's a thing where it's like she kind of has to share her sexuality. Her sexuality is her job. And I'm just not for that. But that's just me personally. If for you, you're okay with that, you know what I mean? You're okay with her sexuality not being solely yours. If you're okay with her sexuality being her job and that's what she does, you feel like, nah, you know, she's good to me and she does right by me, then I say go for it. You know, I say, hey, this would be something that you, these are things you can tolerate and you're okay with, then go for it. I don't see why not. Because it's, again, you know, there are dudes out there that don't mind that kind of stuff. You know, they'll date a stripper or they'll date a girl who, you know, has an OnlyFans, or they'll date a porn star or whatever it may be. I would argue most guys, you know, they want their girl's sexuality to be solely theirs. But there are some guys that, you know, they don't mind that stuff. If you're one of those guys that doesn't mind that, I don't see why not. Go ahead, man. Now, do I think this relationship is going to flourish? I don't think so. I don't really see some longevity in this relationship. I think it's a thing where, you know, she might be kind of enjoying this type of attention because it's kind of something new for her. I'm sure there's a lot of guys that don't really take her serious, or they kind of only see her as a sex object and stuff like that. And so you're kind of that guy that comes in and you don't really see her as a sex object. You kind of see her more as a person and this and that. So that might be the reason why she stays. But I think once the rose tinted glasses come off and, you know, she kind of realizes, you know, this ain't really what I want, or she kind of sees opportunity in something else, I do think she'll jump ship and go to something else. But again, that's neither here nor there. And that's kind of the reason why I say a lot of times girls that are involved in sex work, they kind of have to put themselves in precarious, you know, situations. And a lot of times those precarious situations, you know, kind of put them in a bad light when it comes to like relationships and stuff. So that could test the waters of you guys' relationships. It also could be a thing where you're cool with, her being a stripper and her sexuality being out there, now, but you may not be cool with that, let's say, a year down the road. You may not be cool with that. You might want her to quit and do something else. And she's like, nah, this is good money. Like, you ain't paying my bills, nigga. Like, you know what I mean? So you got to kind of think about all the angles here, and then also you got to think about like the future. You got to think about like far in the future. Like, am I still going to be okay with her stripping? Am I still going to be okay with her kind of selling her sexuality? Am I still going to be okay with, her being in precarious situations with men and stuff like that? Do I think that she's going to be a good long-term girlfriend? Is she going to want to stay with me long-term? Or is it going to be a thing where she's going to kind of be looking for the next best little thing? Does she just have rose-tinted glasses on? And this is not really a genuine kind of like, I guess you could say love. Or is this just kind of like ooh, he's treating me different? There's a lot that kind of plays into it. There's a lot that you're going to have to think about. But again, if we're going to take it base level, if you're okay with her being a stripper, and you're okay with her being in precarious situations with other men. And what I mean by precarious situations with other men is like, she's going to get offered a lot of money to have sex with these dudes. Homeboy is just like, hey, I got 5 bands. You trying to fuck? Like, I don't think she's really going to turn down 5 bands. You know what I mean? Knowing she just got to fuck this dude. You just never know. And that's why I'm saying she gets put in precarious situations. So again, if you're okay with that, I don't see why not. Go for it. Do your thing. Because it seems like you guys went on a couple dates and you guys had a good time and, you guys clicked to some degree and you guys seem cool and, she seems compatible with you for some odd reason, whatever it may be. So again, if that's cool with you, then hey, that's cool with me, dog. Do your thing. Like I said, me personally, nah, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. Like I said, I just wouldn't do it. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. Give a man some advice if, you got some advice to give because, yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. On to our next one, though. All right, am I overreacting? A guy my girlfriend used to hook up with messaged her the other day. Okay. A guy my girlfriend used to hook up with hit her up the other day. She told me about it, but kind of downplayed it. She said she just thought it was funny. I asked what he said, and I thought her response was kind of odd. He said that he missed fucking her. She asked, why me? He said some typical reasons, and she replied, I don't see any dupes. I am flattered. That was the end of the conversation. While she did tell me about it, it really bothers me. I think what bothers me the most is that she didn't defend herself or our relationship. I asked if she blocked him after, and she said not yet. We have been together 8 years. He has to be well aware of that. I am pretty livid, and she made sure I told her how I felt. I made sure I told her how I feel. Am I overreacting? Yes, only because in a way she entertained it. Now, if she didn't entertain the conversation, like if homeboy hit her up and, she just say she just replied. Yeah, not like, she reacted to it. Sorry, not replied, but she reacted to it. She gave like a thumbs up or some shit. Then I would be like, yeah, nigga, you overreacting because she didn't really say nothing back. But the fact that she kind of entertained the conversation a little bit kind of shows me that it's like, okay, why are you leaving the door open? You know what I mean? Like, why are you leaving the door open? What are you doing? Obviously, this man came and opened the door and you kind of left it open instead of closing that door and being like, nah, hey, man, my boyfriend wouldn't be cool. Like, there was even no mention of you in this small, short conversation. That to me, like, look, if she was just like, if homeboy was like, oh, I miss fucking you, and she was just like, why me? And homeboy was like, oh, because of XYZ reasons. And then she was just like, okay, well, sorry, you can't do that because, my boyfriend. Or even if she just came straight out and was just like, okay, that's cool, but I have a man or whatever, or I have a man. Like, just some mention of the boyfriend, I would have been like, nah, bro, you're overreacting. You're good. She mentioned you. She kind of stomped it out. It is what it is. But the fact that she didn't mention you, I'm like, yeah, nah, fam, you ain't overreacting. Because the lack of mentioning you just kind of tells me that this door is kind of open. It may be slightly ajar. It may be, a little more open than we think. I don't think it's fully open. You know what I mean? I don't think she left the door fully open, but that bitch sure is ajar. You know what I mean? Let's be honest here. So that's why I'm kind of leaning more towards yeah, I don't think you're overreacting, because it's like, bro, why are you entertaining this man? Knowing that, I don't fuck with that shit. You know what I mean? Knowing I don't fuck with that, why are you entertaining this man? I don't like that. So, I don't know. That's how I see it. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. Do you think, she got a little something nefarious going on? Do you think it was innocent? Do you think, maybe homeboy is overreacting a little bit? Do you agree with me that, he's only overreacting because she kind of left that door open a little bit? Just let me know. Let me know. On to our next one. Am I overreacting for walking out of my own birthday dinner because my boyfriend invited his work wife? That's crazy. Woo. Okay, let's see. Honestly shaking right now. Need a sanity check because I feel like I'm losing it. I, 24 female, have been with my boyfriend, 26 male, for 3 years. He has this coworker. Let's call her Sarah. Yeah, bitch ass Sarah. No, I was kidding. They are super close. He jokingly calls her his work wife. I'm going to be straight honest with you. Coming from a guy, any dude that says that that's my work wife, he wouldn't necessarily date her, but he does want to fuck her. All right? I'm going to just be honest with you. I'm going to just throw that out there. Take that piece of information how you will. Okay? He may not want to date her, but he definitely want to fuck her. Okay? I'm just saying. Okay? I'm just going to throw that out there. Okay? I've told him it makes me uncomfortable before, but he always shuts me down, says I'm being insecure, and she's just one of the guys. Fast forward to tonight. It's my birthday. We had reservations at this nice Italian place I've been wanting to try for months. Just the two of us. Romantic night, or so I thought. No, this nigga did not. We get there, get seated, and 10 minutes later, Sarah walks in. I look at him and he's grinning, says, surprise, Sarah helped me pick the place, so I thought it'd be nice to include her. No, bruh. No. I don't give a fuck if she picked out the goddamn present. She doesn't, why is she there? Why the fuck is she there? She has no reason to be there. You are celebrating your girlfriend's birthday, bro. Now, look, what I thought this was a whole thing of this was a group situation. Her friends, maybe he's got one or two friends, and then he invited her as part of a few of his friends. But this is it's just him, the work wife, and his girl. Bro, oh my God, I was floored. I didn't want to make a scene, so I tried to be polite, but for the next 45 minutes, they just talked about office drama, inside jokes, and people I don't know. I literally sat there eating breadsticks while they laughed about Gary from accounting, and fuck Gary. I felt like third wheel at my own birthday dinner. Oh, bruh. Yeah, this is inexcusable, bro. Inexcusable. Oh, my God. I finally had enough when she reached over and tried my pasta with her fork without. You bitch, Sarah! Sarah, you're a bitch! How? Whoo! Even I don't like Sarah. Fuck That bitch. This is my birthday dinner, and you're going to be like, ooh, is that pasta good? And reach over and take a piece of my bitch. I would have thrown that pasta at her, bro. I'm sorry. I would have made a scene, because it's like, okay, it's bad enough you brought this bitch when it was supposed to be just me and you. Then you guys are having conversation about people I don't know and having inside jokes and laughing and all that kind of stuff. Now, here's where I fly off the handle. Bitch want to take her dirty, nasty fork that's been all inside her whore mouth, and you want to put it in my food and proceed to think that is okay? Nah, bitch. Nah, bro. Nah, man. I would have threw my pasta at her face and I would have left. I'd have been like, you know what? Nah, I'm up out of here. Fuck you. Oh, girl, you are stronger than I. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right, I'm sorry. So I just stood up, put $60 on the table for my share, and walked out. I don't even know why you put $60 on the table. I would have just left. You know that bitch nothing. What the fuck? It's your birthday. Didn't say a word. Now my phone is blowing up. He's saying I'm a psycho and I humiliated him in front of his friend. Sarah even sent me a text saying I needed to chill out, and I'm ruining a good vibe over nothing. I'm sitting in my apartment crying, but I also fuming. Am I overreacting? He's making me feel like I am the crazy one for wanting a solo dinner with my boyfriend on my birthday. You are not overreacting. You need to break up with this dude immediately. Immediately. You go tell him, hey man, you go be with fucking Sarah, bro. You go be with that fucking cum guzzling whore, because I don't care anymore. Girl, you don't need that. Oh my God, you don't need that. This man is diabolical. How are you going to, first off, you're going to invite another girl to your girlfriend's birthday? That already, like, the moment you saw that should have let you know, like, yeah, no, I'm good, done, bye. That should have already let you know, girl. And then they're over here ignoring you completely, having this one-on-one conversation like they're on a date, and you're just fucking the chaperone or some shit. And then bitch want to take her dirty ass nasty fork and put it in your food. I like, bitch, who are you? I'm telling you, I would have threw that pasta in her face, son. And then, like I say, you're a bigger person than me. I wouldn't have put $60. I wouldn't have put shit on that table. I would have just left. I would have took them breadsticks and left. we ain't leaving without the breadsticks. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? If it's a bomb Italian place, I'm sure they had some bomb breadsticks. You need to go find you another boyfriend, girl. Hey, what your number is? You know what I mean? I'll take you out, girl. I got you. I love you. You know what I mean? Like, hey, fuck that dude, man. That's crazy work. That is crazy. I hope you broke up with him. I really do. Because if I'm being honest with you, like I said at the top of the scenario, any dude that has a work wife, he won't date her, but he wants to fuck her. All right? I'm being dead serious. That is some wild shit. He would do that to you on your birthday. Like I said, what I thought is this was a group thing. It was her and maybe two of her friends, him, and he was able to invite two friends, and this work wife girl was one of them. I didn't think that this was supposed to be a one-on-one situation, and this nigga decided, nah, I'm gonna third wheel my own girl on her birthday. Bruh, let me know what you think about that one in the comments, because yeah, bro, even if you just say fuck Sarah, like, I'll know what you're talking about, because that bitch, nah, girl, get you a better man. Definitely. All right, on to our next one. Am I overreacting to my boyfriend screaming at the bartender? Oh, Lord. Okay, my long-term boyfriend, 22 male, and I, 23 female, went bar hopping with a few friends to celebrate our dear friend's birthday. It was starting off really fun. For some added context, I might have been feeling a bit sensitive as I was very sleepy since I had a very productive day prior to the night out and was feeling pretty wiped out. So I don't know if that's the cause or of my overreacting or slash sensitivity. We got to the second bar. It was looking fun with a good dance floor and decent music. My boyfriend decided to buy us our next round and get the good vibes going. 4 people in total. He had also just won money at the casino earlier in the night, so he was using his winning loot to lavish drinks for the group. The drinks come out, and I didn't really understand what was happening, but I quickly noticed he was speaking to the bartender in a very tense and heated way. It seemed like she got the drinks wrong. She started saying, "No, you said," and what the drink's name is, and he was arguing back, trying to correct her. She just kept saying nope, insinuating that he should just take the drinks she made. It was a super busy bar, and she seemed like she was drowning with how many patrons were demanding their drinks, to be honest. He begrudgingly goes to her, grabs her. Wait, hold on. Sorry. Gave her the cash, but kept muttering, yelling, and arguing all throughout, though he still paid. Our friend chipped in some cash too, but my boyfriend was still super angry. I asked what happened, and he was upset, just yelling in her direction. She charged me fucking $50. That's not what I fucking ordered. What the fuck? He was obviously drunk and very upset, and I was just trying my best to calm him down, but I could tell it was pissing him off, and he gave me looks like, "You're so on her side, great," rolls his eyes. I saw the bartender look upset, like she was fighting back tears and avoiding him as he kept yelling about it. He has a tendency to get very locked on when someone pisses him off and struggled to let it go. I've been a victim of this many times, so it's something I'm used to from him. Ooh, which you shouldn't be. I was about to say, this is probably a precursor to him yelling at you, but she's used to it apparently. That is crazy work that some girls will sit there and they will just be like, yeah, my boyfriend getting mad and yelling at me and throwing plates at my face. Yeah, I get used to it. It's just fine. Like, bro, like, what the fuck? Is that not reason to leave a dude or what? What are we doing here? Bitches like plates thrown at him or something? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Okay, he's not throwing plates at her, but you know what I mean. But not used to watching from the third person POV. I felt so embarrassed and sorry for her. Also, seeing him yelling at her like that made me realize what happens when he yells at me like that when he's drunk / mad. Of course, I tried talking to him about it later on, and he totally blew up and shut me down, spoke over and / interrupted, threatened to break up. We share an apartment, so it's a very scary suggestion to just throw out there, and blamed me for ruining his friend's birthday and stormed out. Ooh, yeah, you're dealing with a bipolar ass dude, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like there is no excuse to get aggressive with a girl just trying to do her job bartending at a busy club. Even though she made a mistake, there are better ways to sort it out. Also, he did look terrifying and super aggressive and scary. I was trying to explain that to him, but he just acted really offended and shocked and made me feel crazy. I tried explaining he makes me feel scared when he gets mad at me like that, and his response is, "Why the fuck are you with me then?" Oh, damn. He insists he didn't scream. I am exhausted over the semantics. He was very heated, very upset, very aggressive, arguing with the drinks loudly enough that he could definitely hear him over the crowd of the bar and blasted music. What else would you call that? Am I crazy? No, I think you're not overreacting. And if I'm being honest with you, you're kind of gaslighting yourself into believing that this guy is a good guy and a guy that you should be dating and being with. Because if I'm being honest with you, sweetheart, you are like literally one argument away from getting socked in the fucking face. If I'm being honest with you. All right, a lot of girls sit there and they will be in relationships with these overly aggressive dudes thinking like, oh, it's fine. It's hunky-dory. Da-la-da-la-day, cousin. Everything's fine. Cat pooped on Milan. Nothing's going on. And then, a month or two down the road, they over here got a nice little shiner over here wearing sunglasses. Oh, no, I ran into a door. It's fine. Like, bro, this is kind of where you're heading if I'm being honest with you. And so that's why it's one of those things where if I'm being honest with you and if I can give you some advice, I would definitely get out of this relationship. Because again, okay, first off, you said that you're used to him yelling at you and getting mad at you and blowing up in the way he did. That already is crazy. All right? That already right there is wild. You're already kind of gaslighting yourself into this shitty relationship. 2, the fact that he gets mad over that kind of stuff. Look, you got to understand, man, that people who make mistakes in the retail and all that kind of stuff, or in the service industry in general, they're not making mistakes on purpose, bro. It's one of those things where it is really, genuinely, honestly a mistake. It really is. It's one of those things where, like, anytime that, say I'm on a date with a girl or whatever, and they get my food wrong, I'm not going to sit there and complain about it. It is what it is, man. And if I pull the guy aside and I say, hey, look, I think I may have, mistaked what I ordered. This wasn't what I ordered. I ordered this. I may have said it wrong. You know what I mean? I try to just come at the angle of like, I know you didn't make this mistake on purpose. It was a mistake and it happens. You know what I mean? And if you're the type of person that can't understand that, and you can't, just understand that, hey, it's a mistake. It is what it is. It's all right. Like, dude, like if you can't understand that, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Those are the type of people that I can't stand the most. Because when I worked retail, that is really how it was. I would genuinely make a mistake. This was just one of those things where it was like, dude, it was genuinely a mistake. I'm not out here trying to, ruin your day by making this mistake. I'll just fix the mistake. It's fine. It's okay. It's cool. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? But it's one of those things where it's just like people who sit there and they can't understand that it was just genuinely a mistake. Those tend to be the people who are the most like bipolar. Those are people who tend to be, just shitty people in general. Like, look, I get it. There may be some great qualities about your boyfriend. There may be some things that you really love and enjoy about him. But I don't think that this is a relationship that you stay in very long term. And the reason I say that is just for the simple fact that you said, oh, yeah, he can be super aggressive and this and that. I'll try to find it verbatim just so that way I'm not trying to get that. It was somewhere in here. Shit. Oh, I wish I could find it in here. Insinuating that. Because, I mean, even when you were talking about, like, seeing it, I think sometimes that's kind of really what it is, too, is, like, you kind of got to see it in a third-person view in order to realize, like, oh, shit, that's how it looks. Because a lot of times when you're in it and it's kind of happening to you, you don't really see, like, what's wrong with it. You're kind of just like, it's not that bad. It is what it is. But then when you see them doing that to someone else, you're kind of like, oh shit. Yeah, maybe it is bad. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, maybe this is bad. Maybe this isn't something that I should just be okay with. You know what I mean? I do wish that I could find the part where she said that, she's like, oh, I'm used to it. Let me see. Keep saying nope and insinuating. I think it was on here. Okay, there you are. There it is. She says, I've been a victim of this many, many times, so it's something I'm used to from him, but not used to watching it from the third person POV. Okay? I wanted to get that verbatim because it only drives home the point of like, you are kind of gaslighting yourself into believing that this dude is not as bad as he actually is. And now that you've kind of seen it from like a third person perspective, that right there goes to show you that this is not a relationship that you should continue. And if you do continue this relationship, you're heading for a nice little shiner. You know, and then even the fact that you were trying to calm him down and be like, hey, don't worry about it. It's okay, babe. And then he's over here getting even more angry at you. And you're like voicing your concern like, hey, you know, when you get like that scares the shit out of me. And he's just like, then why the fuck are you with me? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, why the fuck am I with you? Maybe I should leave, you know, because it's what I've always said this on the show. If you get to the point where you have to say to your partner, why are you with me? The relationship's over. Okay? Relationship's done. Relationship is absolutely done. It really is. Because if you get to that point where you are asking your partner, why are you with me? The relationship's over. It's over. Like, you guys can sit there and act and pretend and think that, oh, no, it's fine, and oh, no, it's okay, and oh, no, it's this, it's that. No, it's over. I'm sorry, it's over. It just is. That is the beginning of the end, my friend. That is the beginning of the end. And it's something that I didn't even realize in my own relationship because we did, you know, couples counseling, you know, kind of like just a little bit before we broke up and stuff. And even the counselor told me that same thing. The counselor was just like, you know, have you guys ever gotten to a point where, you know, you ask your partner, then why are you with me? And we're like, damn, yeah, we've said that before. And they're like, okay, then that means from that moment, that was the beginning of the end. You know what I mean? Once you get to that point, a lot of times, you know, you start to feel like, anytime you do something wrong or anytime there is a fight or anytime there's a disagreement or whatever the case may be, you then start to just default to that. Like, all right, why the fuck are you with me? Let's just break up. It is what it is. You know what I mean? You're done fighting for the relationship and you're ready to kind of give up on the relationship, you know? And it's always one of those things where it's like nobody kind of wants to be the bad guy. Nobody wants to be the dumper. Everybody wants to be the dumpy. And so that's kind of the reason why that gets thrown out there. But I think for her, she needs to kind of take the reins and just be like, look, dude, I don't feel safe around you. I don't feel like you have my best interest when you are mad like that. You just get mad at everybody and you just want to blow up at me and stuff like that. I can't really entrust my safety to somebody like that. And I really don't think that this is going to work out continuing further. Yeah. Because again, you're looking out for your safety at this point. That's kind of where it comes to, is that you're looking out for your safety. All right. That's why I kind of say this relationship, nah, there ain't no working this out. You know what I mean? But you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments, as well as everything we've gone over today. Thank you guys so much for watching the episode and all that good stuff. I will see you guys on Thursday for another episode of what is it? Beautiful Venom, our new book. So I hope you guys are enjoying the book. Hope you guys are enjoying the episodes. All the guest episodes and all that kind of stuff. We're going to be having some cool stuff planned for next month and all that good stuff. But yeah, appreciate you guys. I love you so much. I will see you guys on Thursday, and peace.